All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth. And there's sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, is dealing with, we on the home stretch. All right, this is, the last, stretch, okay, of prophecies, that have to happen before the return of Yahweh Shai. And as Yahweh Shai was running down, what would be going on in the earth, okay, before his return. He gave us instructions, okay, on how, to be watchful, okay? So as we watch what's happening and we see everything that Yahweh Shai spoke on, the wars, the rumors of wars, the pestilence, the famines, the earthquakes, the love of many waxing cold, okay? Family getting ready to betray, the believers, okay? Households will be split. All these different things, are signs, all right, of the return of our Lord, our King, okay, Yahweh Shai, okay. So where we at now, we on the home stretch, and that's why as men, the only thing that matters for us is finishing out. We at the point now to where it's time to finish this thing out. We've been awakened, okay, during this grace period, you see, to build, to edify, to be conformed unto Yahweh Shai. All right. And now we're getting to the time where Yahweh Shai finna wrap this thing up, man. Abba Rajazah, we're part of that number. We're finna be perfected. We finna be joint heirs, man. What else could matter outside of that? Of course, with men, we do what we gotta do. Every brother, obligations are different. So whatever that look like, for each brother, their daily obligations. Okay. But we're not in a time, okay? We're not in a time, all right, to be overly concerned with things that don't matter. Okay? We're not in a time, all right, to be distracted by the cares of this world. We in the time of finishing this thing out, So let's get this here. All right. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, and verse 28. And it says, when these things begin to happen, stand up and raise your heads because your salvation is near. We here. It's near. It's near, man. We right here at the brink of civil unrest. Okay, Jacob's trouble. Okay. There's constant rumors, okay, of war. The main rumor now is these small hats starting another war with Iran, which we know that's the war that's gonna draw in all these superpowers of the earth, man. Okay, all these nuclear superpower houses, okay, in the earth are gonna be drawn into this conflict between the small hats and Iran. Okay, they're constantly pushing, the infrastructure, all right, for the AI, which is going to be used, okay, to oversee what the MOTB, all right, because when people take the MOTB, they're going to be plugged into this AI infrastructure that this devil is putting billions and trillions of dollars into, okay, because this devil fully believes that technology, witchcraft, and AI is going to be the way that he plays the Most High on the left hand side forever. Okay, so this devil is all in. And we know the closer he gets, to fulfilling his enterprise, the closer we get to the end. Because Yahweh Shai is going to meet this man, all right, attempting to trying to pull this off, man. So everything is in place we need for the end of this age and the beginning of the age of Israel, man. Okay, and we're going to keep going. It says, and it says, when you see, then Yahweh Shai told them this parable. And this is in the GNT as well. All right, the GNT Bible, the Good News Translation that I'm reading out of. It said, then Yahushua told them this parable. Think of the fig tree and all of the other trees. When you see their leaves beginning to appear, you know that summer is nigh. In the same way, when you see these things happening, you will know that the kingdom of the Most High is about to come, man. So we see these things happening. We see prophecy budding in the earth, springing forth, beginning to manifest itself. Okay, all the prophecies that we, speak on and read about, they're beginning to manifest themselves more and more. Okay, the things that we expounded on, well, now these things are happening in real time. Prophecy has taken over the news. Okay, the only thing worth talking about now, all right, when it comes to prophecy, when it comes to the news, is prophecy, man. Okay, food scarcity, well, that's prophecy, man. Okay, civil unrest, okay, civil war, all these things are prophecy, man. World war, okay. These are all the like, if prophecy was a tree where we're seeing all the buds, okay, beginning to spring forth, beginning to show. Everything is budding. Prophecy is budding in the earth. Okay. And they're blooming. They're beginning to bloom. Okay, there's no doubt that we're here. So we're in the mindset now of finishing. Okay, so reading on, verse 32 says, remember that all these things will take place before the people now living have all died. Now, are those people, back during the time of Yahushua, did they live continuously? No, they're back reincarnated. Their generation is back. You see, that generation of the apostles that follow Yahushua, the rest of the believers, because you had Jake that believed. You go to the gospel, you had Jake that believed. Jake was being healed based on what? Their belief. Okay, so that generation of believers is back, and that generations of non-believers is back. Those that said, give us Barabbas, you can tell. Okay, you can tell. Jake would rather have NBA YoungBoy reign over them than Yahushua. That generation that chose Barabbas is back. They gave Yahushua to Caesar, all right, to Pilate. That generation is back. That wicked leadership, okay, Caiaphas and the rest of those chief priests and Sadducees and wicked, Pharisees, they're back. Okay, everyone's back. That generation is here. So before this generation dies in this time, all right, that was back then, all right, they came back reincarnated in this era. Okay, so before they die, now you know that this is the lifetime it's gonna happen. Ain't no doubt that this the lifetime that these things are gonna happen, man. Okay, and like Elder Apostle Tahar say, man, hey, you can count the months. Okay, whether it be 10 months, all right, 20 months, 40 months. Hey, we just know that we close. You see, we close. Whether it be 50 months, it's still months. You see, ain't no 10, 20 years you can't see it because things are brewing so much. Things are right here. Okay, and this devil, ever since all right, Trump has taken office, these elites have pushed the gas on this new world order, man. They've shifted gears with this thing, man. A lot has happened in these 10 months that this man's been in office, man. Okay? So these devils, they not, they know their time is short. Okay? The Lord got a spirit on them to really, move. Okay? So we see that cause it take decades to build the infrastructure for the AI. Okay? For the CBDC, central bank digital currency, but it's only going to take a 10-minute speech to make it mandatory. Okay, there's been a build up, to this third world war. Okay, there's been decades to this build up going back ever since World War II. There's been a build up to this third world war. When you really look at it. All right, so from the Cold War, all right, until now. You see, there's been the build up to this third world war. You know, you had the arms race, okay, all these different things that we've seen, all right, and the main two have been what? Well, it was America and the USSR, all right, the Cold War, and now it's America and Russia, okay, that all these different proxy wars around the earth have involved these two governments, okay? So now there's been decades to a buildup of this third world war, okay, till it's going to take, one event, one conflict, and this thing spirals out of control. Okay, Jacob Trouble is here. It's a one event, and that thing can go to a whole nother level. Dealing with these troops, these federal agents in these neighborhoods, one event, and this thing can go to a whole nother level, man. Okay, one blackout. Okay, you see that? One EMP. All right, a few weeks of EMP, man. So the stage is set for this thing to just accelerate until the end. Now, no man knows, all right, the hour of time. No one can give you an exact date of the end. Okay, but we're close. All right, and because every day it's a true statement that we're closer than we ever been. Another day closer. All right, and it's all about this, Like I'm saying, we watch these things and we know we close. So whether it's cause 2-3 years ain't long. 4 years, even 5, that's not long. The way time moving, 5 years not a long time, man. Cause see, another thing too is we begin to think like immortals, man. These little pockets of time, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, like this little time moving quick. Especially as we're active, in this ministry, man, this time is flying. You see? So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7 says, Then I asked, how long a period of time will divide the ages? When will the first age end and the next age begin? So Ezra is inquiring about the end. He's inquiring about the kingdom. Our forefathers, man, this was their mindset, man. Their mindset was geared on the kingdom of Yahweh Bashim Shai, man. The kingdom of righteousness, man. Okay, and the heathens to be put down. That's what they was inquiring about, man. That was their mind was at. Okay, Ezra wasn't chasing the bag and trying to be popular and cute in the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, Nehemiah, they wasn't on that. You see, the apostles, they was asking about the kingdom. They was asking about rulership. Okay, and righteousness, man. They was fed up with seeing the wicked heathen in power and authority, man. Okay, and we should be at that point. Okay, it's about the kingdom to come now. Okay, we're gonna get rewarded when Yahweh Shai returns, man. Okay, and brothers, we gotta have a mindset. We ain't gotta chase nothing. Okay, besides these crowns. Okay, the only thing we chasing is these crowns, man, because the crown come with everything. That's a lesson within itself. All right, so it says, then I asked, how long a period of time will divide the ages? When will the first age end and the next age begin? He answered, the interval will be no longer than between Abraham and Abraham, showing you that the transition will happen in one lifetime. The kingdom is going to translate from Esau unto Jacob in one lifetime. Ain't going to be no gaps. Okay? It's going to be a continuous transition from one people to another. Okay? It's going to be a direct transition, man. Okay? And it says, verse 9. Verse 8 says, he answered, the interval will be no longer than between Abraham and Abraham. He was the grandfather of both Jacob and Esau. And when they were born, Jacob was holding Esau's heel. All right, showing you there was representation because the end of Esau's kingdom All right, because the feet represents the end of a man. The hand represents what? That power. Okay, so at the end of Esau's, all right, reign, because his kingdom was birthed into the earth first. Okay, the Renaissance, that was him coming into the fulfillment of the blessings from Genesis. You see, Esau came into the fulfillment of his blessings that he received from Isaac, okay, during the Renaissance. You know, when he was able to conquer the entire earth with the sword, okay? But now, all right, he's at the point, you see, of his feet, which is his end. All right, the 10 toes of that statue in the book of Daniel. In the days of these kingdoms, where the Lord set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. All right, you see? So this is where we at now. And our brothers are, we're part of that kingdom. This is what we're a part of. Brothers, we're a part of a kingdom that's never going to be destroyed. A rulership that's never going to be destroyed. This is what we're fighting for. Okay? This is what we wake up, all right, and give our energy to for this, man. Okay? A kingdom that should never be destroyed in righteousness. All right? So this hand is what represents power. And ultimately it's Yahweh Shai. Because that's gonna be the strength, okay, of our kingdom. Okay? The strength given to him by the Father. And it says Esau represents the end of this age, and Jacob represents the beginning of a new age, man. You know, and we're here. We're here at the beginning of the new age, man, and the Lord saw it fit to allow us to be a part of it, man. Lord, will we endure? You know, what motivation, what more motivation could we have to endure, okay, than to be joint heirs with Yahweh, you know, forever. You see? And we can't even comprehend what that means. We have an inkling. You know, we see in part, we prophesy in part, we have just enough to fight for it. Okay, but to really comprehend what that means, we're not gonna know until we get there, man. You know, and that's why the main fight is getting there. Okay, so that was the point. You know, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters was edified once again. All right, I'm gonna give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, say to the hopeful. Shalom.